All right. Welcome,
Hello.
everyone. This is the Myriasphere Origins. I am Daniel, your host, and this is Brian from Work the Game. People know him far more than they probably know me, so I'll put his link to his channel in the description here before I upload this.
I'm digging all the stuff in your background, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
And as someone who also uses StreamYard, A, awesome intro. And then B, how did you get it to do audio? I need to talk to you after the show and
Oh,
you can
man.
teach me the
I had
ways
a,
because I
I had a,
have like
yeah.
struggled.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out how to do intro. So what I did was I talked to one of my buddies, a YouTuber, and he's like, "Hey, dude, just send me your logo. I'll do something for you." I was like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, I'll do it." I was like, "All right," and that's what he gave me that. And I
That's
was like,
awesome.
"Dude, yeah, I really like it because I like sci-fi, fantasy kind of style and stuff,
Yeah,
and
100%, man.
so
Yeah, I get that.
it really
He
feels
did
it.
an excellent job.
Oh yeah, but yeah, so we're here to talk about our feelings on right before Endwalker.
Ooh.
It's so close, man. And both me and you have been around since the original 14,
Mm-hmm.
and it's been
Oh, geez.
11 years, and it just so much has changed, not just in the world, but probably both of our lives since, the first time we saw that trailer, the 1.0 trailer.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I
think I
didn't have
watched that
kids.
trailer like, yeah, no, I needed that. I was in the Marine Corps.
Oh, thanks for your service, by the way. My
Yeah, thank
my
you.
grandfather was a Marine.
Nice. Yeah, I was literally in my barracks when I first saw 14's trailer drop, and I watched that thing probably 100 times. I'm like, "Oh, man, this is gonna be freaking awesome." So I played 11 like you, when I was in high school. Freaking I loved 11. I don't have enough time in a day to play 11, though, not the original 11. I know they changed a lot since I've been in.
Yeah, the retail version is way different, and
Oh,
then I've been playing on a private server
oh, yeah.
on Wings, and I mean super casually in the sense that where when I message my friends, they're all like, "Come on, man, you're still they're level 30." I'm like, that's the downside, about a content creator is that like when I look down
Uh,
at it, it's like there's endless amounts of games that I want to sit and play, and there's so much limited
oh,
time. And so from a content creation perspective, a choice has to be made. And then outside the content creation, then obviously with your family and kids and responsibilities, like choices
oh,
have to be
yeah.
made. And that's where I would love to see more of 11 in 14,
Mm,
but that becomes a very big topic, especially depends on who you're talking to. Because I would pick and choose certain aspects,
right.
but I actually enjoy retail, and then same kind of version where it's like I love to take stuff from 14 and bring it into retail
11, oh, yeah.
11 because I think
Duty
that
Fighter
there's
would be awesome. Like
I
Party
don't know about
Fighter.
that. Like
You
that's
know how many
where I
times
get
I sat in the dunes, like, right if I don't know about you, but I sat for, like, hours in the dunes just
hours
shouting, like,
shouting.
"Hey,
I
looking for
quit
party."
multiple times because of that, right?
Yeah.
At the same time, I think
God.
a party finder system would be better than a duty finder system
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I would think that if 11 got a duty finder system, they would delete sub jobs because it would
Yeah,
just
it's
be
true.
pure toxic. Pure, like you would get in with a group and the system's like, hey, we found these people. And occasionally you'd be like, that was amazing.
Mm.
More often than not, I bet you would get into a group where you're like, are you effing kidding me? Like you can't even like what's happening. And that's where I see within that's where, like I said, like I have a struggle because I like doing the party matching for its convenience, but
Right.
14 doesn't have a sub job system. It doesn't have these flexible systems that you create your unique version of a white mage. It has a blue mage, and that is not allowed in the matchmaking system, right? So like, and people
Yeah, that's
love
true.
that, and they love that aspect. And I think when I look at PVE, PvP matchmaking is perfectly fine. When I look at PvE matchmaking,
Mm.
I think the cost comes with that personal level of decision. And a lot of people will counter that to represent both sides is that the choice is always an illusion. Like you never really
Right.
had a choice in the first place. 14's a curated experience. So you have an ideal experience every time. It's going to just fall down to player skill is where your job's going to be different.
Mhm.
But I really have enjoyed 11 for the sub job system. And if they brought that to
Yeah.
14, I would weep. I would weep. I'd be so happy. Anyway.
Oh, yeah. Especially with you have all your jobs at 80. I still have a lot of jobs. I haven't leveled, like, any of my healers.
That's okay, man. I enjoy healing. I shifted to healing
Right.
from 11 because one day I was on all day and I was just trying to get in a party, and it was like we always couldn't find a healer, and I was like, fine, I'll
Right.
go do
Yeah.
that. I'll
Yeah.
go
No one
do
ever
that.
wanted to heal.
Yeah,
I
I was like, I'll go
was
do that. And so and then
paladin
yeah,
most of the
Paladin.
time, and I was also I did monk for a long time, and then I did
Nice.
summoner, and I love summoner in that in 11. You just get that one big, you take all the time in the world to summon that one big dude, and he just
Rah.
devastates and then goes away, and then you have to like sit down and wait till your MP. Same as Black Mage too in that game was freaking.
Oh, dude.
Oh,
And then
I
you get magic
love Black Mage.
bursting, and
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
just
Oh,
right. Like there's so many things that are just, I think, very beautiful about 11 and why I think a
mhm.
lot of people
You
love
gotta
it. I
time it
think,
right with
mhm.
you get the right people in your group, especially if you're playing with friends and you just time it perfectly and you get that massive explosion of damage. It's like, oh,
I was playing with Ninja and his brother Chris, and
mm,
those guys just they know 11 so
oh, really?
deeply, and we were just tearing things up to the point like where it was just like to a millisecond pull here and a millisecond pull there, bop bop XP chains rocking and rolling,
Oh,
and it was just like when you get that right group and that synergy, like there's nothing better than that.
yeah.
However,
Hour will go by and you don't even realize an hour's gone by. And you've
right, you're like,
leveled like
wow, this has
way
been
more than you ever
incredible.
thought. And you're like,
Yeah.
dang.
Yeah. This is oh wow, this is really cool. Yeah, so absolutely I think there's some beauty there, and it's coming up on its 20th anniversary, and that's where
Yeah.
Endwalker I think is really key. That's where the 1.0 trailer that you were like, "Hey, Brian, you mind talking to me about this?" I'm like, "Absolutely." Like there's
Yeah.
we could speculate like as to what it could mean, right?
Right.
But for me, the core thing that it means is a sign of respect.
That's what I thought.
Mhm.
Everybody's like, whoa, they're going to do something. I'm like, I don't think that's what they were like. To me, it was just, this is where we were. Look, we're about to end the story,
Mhm.
at least this part of it. Well, here's a look back at where we started. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen that trailer in years. And I'm like, oh, I remember sitting in my barracks room and that trailer coming up. I'm just sitting there like, because I love, like, I got into Final Fantasy 7
Mhm.
and then 8, 9, 10, and 10X2. I was like, meh. And then, then 11 came out and I got way too absorbed in 11. I like,
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
in high school, I would get off, I go to work, get home, and poof, I'm on a computer 11. I'm just like, as
Yeah,
much as
same
possible.
thing. Like the same experience is like, yeah, every waking moment. And obviously, that doesn't necessarily work with society and life today. Well,
Yeah.
and also because there's other games that you want to play, right? Like I think
Right. Yep.
there's times where I'm like, oh wow, like Brian, are you going to play that game? I'm like, no.
Yeah, I
Like,
tried New World like you guys have. I haven't really been able to get into it. I probably have to delete one of my characters. I'm totally stuck.
oh, you're stuck? How so?
Yeah, I got into one of the cities and I jumped down. And after the server thing, I don't know how to teleport out of there anymore. And I'm like stuck where there's like the bridges
Hmm.
and there's like some trees and I can't get out
Go to
like
the
at
unstuck
all.
menu and just have it like
Man, yeah,
respawn you.
maybe yeah, I'll have to find that.
I
But
honestly
I'm
like
just
I
like
adore New
crap.
World. I think New World reminds me a lot of 11, and it reminds me a
Mhm.
lot of my childhood. I grew up in East Texas. So
Oh,
if there's
really?
anybody who's listening to this and it's like Nacogdoches and Lufkin, SFA go Lumberjacks. The there was just these tall trees, and so like New World for
Mhm.
me is I adore it. Like I think it's actually one of the best MMOs I've played in a long time. I don't classify 14 though as an MMO. I classify it as an RPG MMO.
Oh, really? Yeah.
There's a difference, right? Like
Yeah, yeah,
I've said
yeah.
this since actually A Realm Reborn. So they're like some people feel like that's I'm trying to be like, oh, it's sensational. But I've said since ARR, Final Fantasy 14 is a Final Fantasy first game.
Right.
You
Mhm.
like if you and then if you
Yeah.
enjoy Final Fantasy, you will enjoy Final Fantasy 14.
Oh, yeah.
If you've never played an MMO before in your life,
Yeah.
then you'll be fine. And if you don't, and if you do like MMOs, I've got good news for you. Now, if you don't like Final Fantasy, but you like MMOs, there's gonna be some struggle that people are gonna have. And I usually try to
Mhm.
find good ways of communicating with people in that way. That's where I struggle because I love Final Fantasy and I love MMOs, and Final Fantasy 14 is this like
Right, yeah.
here is like
Perfect
this
blend.
best version of it. I hesitate on perfect because like there's
Well,
things that I like. You give me open world level sync and you give me the ability to see my friends' quests. I don't even need rewards. I struggle with when I try to help a new player out. I have to drop out of their party, run behind them, help them get where they're going. Oh, there's a fate. Okay, invite me back to your party. Like if I could just level sync down to their level and travel on their adventures with them, oh man, dude, it'd be freaking perfect.
Yeah.
If you can
Yeah,
tell, I
no,
can talk.
oh, no, you're fine. No, yeah, that's why I wanted to do this, because I remember when 1.0 officially launched. I didn't get to play it
Mhm.
very much.
Okay.
I got onto it, and it's kind of a disappointment, because I got in it, and I remember like I didn't really like the how the system, like almost anything, like the leveling system was just so grindy. You had
Mhm.
to go to the crystals, and you had to pick up your lead quests, and you only could do so many lead quests at once, but you were just constantly
Well,
turning. It was the same quest, like over and over and
over
over
and
and
over,
over and
but it
over.
was this weird 36-hour window. So
Yeah.
anyway, and then because there really wasn't like an efficient open world leveling when Yoshi P took over, eventually you could go level in the open world and
Mhm.
you had leave allowances, which ended up solving that problem. But it was this 36-hour window of,
Oh,
all right, I did all
I'm
my
just gonna do
stuff.
the
I'll
same.
see y'all in a day, like,
Yeah.
all right. And then you had the fatigue system. So you were like, it came out at this weird time in development where there's lots of stories in Japan that were
Mm.
really concerned with these long play sessions because you had these stories of these people playing a game for
Oh,
72 hours without ever taking a break and dying.
oh,
And so I think essentially from a design perspective, they kind of got
yeah.
caught at a bad time and they had probably some saying, "Hey, we got to figure out a way to make sure that people can take breaks." And they went about it
Uh,
the wrong way, but
mhm.
at the end of the day, like I was like, I see where they were what problem they were trying to solve, and they created a bad game, and then that was even worse. Like like your job isn't have to worry if someone's going to go play for 72 hours. Like you got to factor in some level of personal responsibility. Like,
Yeah,
dude,
yeah.
step away from the system. It'll be okay. As say this as I'm about to like marathon Endwalker as much as possible,
Oh,
but
I
I always
wish.
tell people I'm gonna live. I'm gonna
I
listen to my body, man, and because my kids are still gonna need me.
Yep, that's my problem is I'm married. I have 5 kids now.
Hey, congrats, me too, man.
Really? Yeah,
Yeah, I
nice.
got
I have 2
five.
step kids and then 3
Still,
of my own.
dude, that's
And
five kids, man. You got
yeah.
five kids.
Yeah.
Like I don't like step. Yeah, I get it from a like societal thing. Like, okay, that makes sense. But it's like, no, you got five kids.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they're my kids, even though their father's still in they go on holidays to their dads, and summer times they spend all summer with their dad. So, at least he's still in their life, and I'm glad he is.
That's really good. That's excellent. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not a bad dude. They just didn't work out.
Yeah.
So, um, but yeah, my youngest is
Sorry,
8
I didn't mean to
months.
make it like,
No,
hey,
no,
let's welcome to Final Fantasy Talk and let's talk about our
it's all
exes.
kids. All right, no, no, my wife is a traveling nurse, so she's working, like she drives like 3-4 hours sometimes to work and back,
Oh my
and
goodness,
she
dude.
spends all night at work, and then has to drive in the morning back home sometimes.
Yeah, it depends
She
on
makes
if
good
she's like
money.
on a like a 3-4 or a 4-3.
Yeah,
I worked in hospitals, so like yeah, nursing schedules, dude. I was like, yeah,
and
my
she just
friend
got a
Chris,
job
like
at
like
the hospital too,
oh nice,
because
like
she was so sick of driving, and then she's like, "Oh, I'll just get our local hospital's hiring." And she's an
yeah,
RN, so
my
yeah.
friend Chris, I was talking about playing 11 with, and him and Ninja, is that he his wife's a nurse, and so it's like she's
Mm,
on this like every other weekend schedule. He's like, hey, you want to go play some games? I'm like, absolutely.
yeah, so I was working security because I was Marine Corps, and I pretty much was like, well, I know security, so but I don't know if it's like you with money to pay for like any kind of babysitting or like thing was like ridiculous money. It
You
was
can get a
more money than my
babysitter.
job,
You can get
huh?
a babysitter. Like my
Or
wife will
no, like no,
not hire one,
really?
and
Like we
I
looked
and
around and we just like they were just way too
I'm sure
expensive.
they're ridiculously expensive. My wife will not. She's like, if we can't get a family member, we're staying home. And I'm like, all right, can we just like
Mm,
look around? And she's like, why don't you call around? I'm like, I am not calling up teenage girls asking them to come over. Like this just is completely wrong. I'm good
yeah.
if if you are.
Like, my wife had one that was like a family friend that she would pay to do it, but that woman, I had a problem with her because she wanted to be paid no matter what, even if she didn't get the kids, so it was like a regular schedule. Like, if she didn't get the
Oh
kids
yeah.
that day, she still wanted to get paid. I was like, no. It's like,
What
no.
is this? That's
I was
a
like, that's
that's a he-
ridiculous. I'm it's like, no.
that's a
So we
sweet
did.
deal. Would you
Oh
pay me for not showing up for work?
yeah, right. Like
Yeah.
no. So, but yeah. So what I did was I left my job and I became a stay-at-home dad now. Well, I'm working on my own book and I'm working on
Awesome.
trying to get my channel built up. And so yeah, so I've been doing that and just trying to take care of them and my mini sphere is what I like to call him because I bring him on my channel every once in a while when he's awake. He's sleeping right now.
Mhm.
Um, hopefully he stays asleep. But yeah, he's 8 months, so he's my
Massive
son's
congrats, dude.
clingy.
Oh yeah,
Thank
like
you.
I'm right in the same boat with you, dude. Like I feel
Yeah,
kindred spirits because Elizabeth, my youngest, she's 9 months or 10 months now, so she'll be one in January. So it's like, but she
nice.
loves to be held,
March.
dude.
Yeah, he'll be
She
1 in March.
loves that
Yeah,
being like I want to be held. I want to be
I've been trying to
fed.
play a game and he's like in my arms and he's trying to jump over my shoulder and I'm like, I gotta do this dungeon. Give me 5 seconds.
Yeah, I've had some bad parses that people like to throw in my face whenever it's like Brian's sharing his opinion on this job, and it's like pull up a parse. It's like he got a great parse on this. It's like, yeah, like I had to set down the controller for like half an hour while I'm sorry guys, kid fell down crying. Like I'm gonna go
Right.
take care of them, make sure they're okay. I'm back.
Yep.
Oh, I missed half the fight. All right, that's fun. Oh, great,
Sorry.
somebody uploaded that parse. Perfect. I don't really actually care if they upload my parses at all. I always
Yeah,
find it funny, like when people try to actively dismiss somebody's thought. Yeah, like I'm like you're spending way too much
mhm,
energy. It's like someone sharing an opinion. Like you stop treating it like I'm sitting here saying putting out the law, just
right.
sharing a
Yeah,
thought.
opinions are. Yeah, that's true. But yeah, so 14, that's, 1.0, and then like I got to about level 20 or something like that. I
Oh
think on
yes.
Lancer, and it just as it was, I think it was, I can't remember. Like I think I was just about to get like my job quest or something like that, like the actual because I was still doing my class or before your dragoon or whatever. I don't even remember. It's been too
There's no
long.
Dragoon at the time. I mean,
No,
we're,
yeah,
if we're going
that's
back to
right. Yeah,
1.0, Dragoon was introduced much later.
was
Like
it okay?
they introduced the job system, and that was wild, dude. I was so freaking hyped for that.
I remember somebody running around and I think I sworn I saw someone AF, maybe not. But I was like little, I'm just a little Lalafell because I play Lalafell right now.
That's
I've changed
appropriate
back and
considering your
forth,
build and your beard.
right? Yeah. I
Dwarf.
would, dude,
I like
yes.
to use the
I'm
first
actually
terminology.
wearing my main character is my my mage characters.
Yeah,
I have like the Christmas outfit and the beard,
very nice.
the dwarf face,
Yeah.
and I'm just running around because I just joined this new guild because I used to be on Genova most of the
Okay.
time. That was my server. And then my brother, like right before Shadowbringers came out, was like, "Hey, I may join you." And then one of his friends talked him into joining his server. So I ended up leaving the guys I was with at the time and said, "Hey, I'm gonna go transfer over to this Siren," which my brother went to, and I would join him and his friends and their guild. And it was a pretty decent guild. We had fun. I got him all the way up, and then got him through Shadowbringers,
Hmm.
and he freaking loved it. He loved every moment of it. He loved the story. But then he's got his own family and job too, so now he's just too busy. Like his job takes up every amount of his time, so he's just can't play right now.
Hmm.
So he left, and then his friend left, and then that guild just went. So I
Hmm.
was pretty much soloing forever because if you don't really have like a good FC or a lot of friends who play, you pretty much get on, do your dungeons, do your thing by yourself, and then you just stand around, whatever.
Hmm.
And so I've been looking for a new FC, and I was on Siren, and this new one called Blueberry Waffles. It's a Lalafell based FC.
Hmm.
And I was shouting, I was like, "Hey, I just want to join FC. It's a lot of fun and active." And I just got a message like, "Hey, we want to join our Lalafell guild." And I was like, "Sure, why not?" And so I got on, and it is so much more fun.
Yeah.
I have never like the players who play Lalafell are always so much fun. They really are because they always like to be like crazy and cute and
Hmm.
funny. Now I have entire FC alone. And so I run maps like 200 times more than I've ever done before, and I've done so much more. It definitely brought the fun back into it because a lot of people are like, "Oh, I like the solo." I'm like, solo's fun if you're just trying to like do a certain thing. Like you're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay, I'm gonna get my job to level 80. I don't need to like talk to people and do all this stuff. And but then you're just standing waiting for queues, and especially DPS queues are the worst
Oh,
sometimes. That's how I got
dude.
my gathering up. That's how I got my fisher up. I would just
Well,
sit there and I would
yeah.
fish until my dungeon queue.
That's the one thing that frustrates me about the fate system though, is that like if you can't finish the fate,
Mhm.
you don't get credit. And so
Oh
depending on
yeah.
it, like it's like you're right. Like what should you do while you wait in queue? Craft and gather, because you're not
Mhm.
gonna sit here and be 29 minutes into it, like or whatever the fate is. And then it's like, oh, duty finally popped. I don't want to miss this one. And so
Yeah.
that's where like Bojan's Adnors, like the fact that you could do that and then go into your thing was so much
Mhm.
nicer because you could still like you were still in the zone. It wasn't off-worlding you because you're in an instance. So freaking choice, dude.
Yeah, that's how I got finally got my fisher to 80. I'm almost got my miner and my botanist to 80. And I want to get those to 80. Like I wanted to get them as close as I could so that I could start actually making gil. Like
Yeah.
I'm one of those guys who's like poor in 14. Like I know you guys have gil. I watch your guys' videos. I'm like, okay, I need to do that. And then I'm like,
It's hard. Like it's
crap, I'll do it
actually
later.
putting in yeah, exactly. What
Yeah, I gotta
I
do
get
it.
into the
Yeah.
same thing too. It's just the fact that I've like I get into these spurts where I go and just make a lot of money and then I'm like, all right, I'm good. And then I'll just like spend on it
Yeah.
for a year. So typically like I have periods where I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go earn. And then it's like, all right, now I'm just kind of coasting off the money that I've got. I don't have needs.
Yeah, I got
I don't have
I
it.
get like 500K, and then I'm like, all right, I got 500K. I'm pretty good. I'm fine. I don't need to worry
Yeah.
about it for a while. And then I'm like, I'm on the AH, just bored looking through the AH. I like glamour stuff. I'm like, ooh, that chest looks cool. 200K.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how they
Sure. And
get
then
you,
later,
man.
I'm like 30K less. I got like 30K left. I'm like, oh crap, I need to
That's how
do
they get
maps
you.
or
That's
something.
how they get you. That's how they get you.
I got to go through like you did. I was watching your stream when you were doing the whole get rid of your armory stuff, trying to figure out and having people vote for. I was like, man,
Oh,
I
thanks
don't know
for
if I
hanging
could
out for
do
that.
that.
Thanks for
I
hanging
have
out for
like
that.
399 stuff in my glamour chest. I'm like, I
Well,
looked in there. I got to
we'll see
clean
if
that
they
out.
expand that. We'll see if they expand that after 6-1 or
Yeah,
something like that because it's Yoshi P's talked
mm,
about wanting to do that, and
that's true.
yeah,
Yeah,
I mean I'm
yeah.
interested. I'm excited.
Because I looked in there and I found out I have like 2 or 3 of the same AF armor from like level 70 Dark Knight or one of the Dark Knight sets. I have like 3 or 4 of the same helms and chests. I'm like,
Hmm.
how the hell did I put 3? How did why do I
Yeah.
got those in there? That's weird. Yeah. Oh my gosh. This the years have gone by, and and I got deployed. So right about 20, I got deployed my first time, and so I had to quit.
Hmm.
So I came back, like, my deployments for 8 months. So I came back 8
Hmm.
months later. I thought about getting back into it, but I made a friend in Iraq who was all about WoW, like hardcore WoW player. And he's like, dude, if you like if you like MMOs, you like 11, come into WoW. So he talked me into one. He's one of those hardcore WoW players. Like
Hmm.
you're the Horde or you're Alliance. And if you pick you're one and you're not, I hate you. So he was Horde player, like hardcore Horde. So
Hmm.
I had to be a Horde player. So he got me into it, and I got into it, and I started playing along. And he was my roommate in my barracks too for
Hmm.
like almost a year. So we're constantly playing WoW together. And then I think it was Mist of Pandora when I finally was like, I'm done. So I
Yeah.
quit. And then I went back to see what was 14 was having because I did get back in 2.0 for a little while
Hmm.
until Heaven Sword. It was like right before Heaven Sword, I got to play my second time.
Hmm.
And then I came back and it was almost Stormblood.
Wow.
Like they were like announcing
Yeah.
Stormblood. And I'm like, oh crap, I haven't done Heavensworn yet. So I jumped back into 14, finished leveling up. And I realized one of my characters I leveled up was a 50 warrior, was on a Japanese server. So I was like, no wonder I can't ever get in like groups and understand what's going on. So I
Right. Yeah.
restarted a new character and I leveled all the way up through
Oh,
Heavensworn.
you didn't transfer? You just
No, I was
started?
just like, screw it. I just made a new character.
Okay. Cool.
And so I went
I
all the
respect
way
the
up.
hustle. I
And I
respect
started as
that
a
hustle.
monk.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've done like several alt characters for no other reason because I was bored. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go level somewhere all the way to 50. For some reason, I didn't want to level my other classes on the one character
Hmm.
right like during that point in time. So I was like, man, it takes forever if I'm just gonna grind my way job. They have way better now. No, Palace of the Dead. and all these dungeons. It's way easier now.
Mhm.
But back then they didn't have that yet. so so I was like
Mhm.
grinding, just doing fates, trying to level up my side characters because I did all the quests, all the side quests. I did everything, and man, Heaven's Sword was such a great expansion. That one hit you in the feels so many times. You
Yeah.
know,
Oh, yeah.
oh, and then
I love the
Storm.
dragon aspect. I love dragons,
Oh yeah,
and so it's
yeah.
such a great story.
Oh, yeah. I
Such a good
was,
story.
it just the people like it's rare to find games or even books or movies that will allow to kill off characters that people love, and or they'll pretend they die and then they'll bring them back, and then there's no actual like threat. So it's kind of after a while, it kind of gets boring and those kind of things. You're like, okay, he's the main character. No, this character's not going to die because whatever reason. And then, but 14 does it right because they're like, hey, we're gonna make you start. There's a side character, like what's his name? The one night guy. Can't think of his name. Is it starts with H. He died in Heavensworn.
Oh, Harshaval.
Yeah, yeah, but like in 2.0, he wasn't really that big a deal. He was just that character, He wasn't like one of the main characters you would have feelings for.
Mhm.
And then in Hemsworth, he started to become more and more of a character. You were like, I really like this dude. He's my bro. Like, this guy's helped me out. He's like, he got me to safety.
Mhm.
He used his family's ties to make sure that I was allowed into Ishgard, that would never allow anyone into Ishgard.
Yeah.
And then, you know, he gets killed in it. I'm not, this should be a spoiler. Anybody who hasn't played this, get caught up.
Sorry
So
that
I'm
we
not going to
didn't
spoil anything,
pre
no,
definitely, yeah.
but when he dies, I was like, oh, I was like, I love books and stories and stuff, and it hit me so hard. I was like, wow,
Mhm.
I haven't felt like something like that since Final Fantasy VII when Eris died.
Oh, yeah,
Like
dude.
when Eris died, I cried.
Well, and then I was like under the impression with that when that happened was like, oh, there's got to be a way to resurrect her. It's a video game, right? Like,
Yeah,
oh yeah, and then it's like,
nope.
there's not. Wait, like, and that's the thing I've seen like Anna Fuchsia where she reacted to that, in which that it was like, oh well, he's okay, right? We're gonna find a way to save him, right? No,
No,
yeah,
I was like, oh my gosh, So I've, then we got into Stormblood. Stormblood was, a lot of people are kind of think it's a disappointment. I kind of think I wish they had a lot of more like Battlefield style like
hmm
stuff because it was like all about it's gonna be this massive war between these people and you're gonna be thrust into it. And you kind of were, but you were kind of like not.
right.
And they didn't have that many dungeons that were like, full on war battlefields. They had a couple
hmm
that were pretty decent. Glims and Dark, I think it's the level 71. I think his name was called.
The
I'm
Gimlet
not good
Dark,
with
and
names.
that's
Yeah,
essentially
that's
a
it. Yeah, that one's pretty
it's not
good.
71, but it's a 70 because it
Yeah,
goes it leads into the
the next.
expansion, right? So it's
Yeah,
like it's one of the like the level cap dungeons, and yeah, obviously lots going on. I personally didn't like that dungeon. I was like,
really. I had to run it
it
so
was
many times.
cool running it once and twice, and then after that, it was just like, all right. I think they did much better with the Shadowbringers dungeons, and I felt like
Oh
that's
man.
was them kind of like, okay, here's
Mhm.
this, and then we saw more of that. I thought, and much better. But it was also the aesthetic, right? Like the war torn, same thing with Boja. I thought Zadnor was better looking. Eureka, I think, was
Mhm.
much better looking. But then you get into the
Yeah.
first, and it's like this very high fantasy and decked out kind of thing. And it's
Right.
like that's such a cool experience. I really enjoyed the look and feel of the dungeons there. For me, the Gimlet and like the war stuff, it's like thematically, yes, I get it, it makes sense, right?
Mhm.
But then it's like I personally, I'm like, I like the
Yeah.
first stuff. I like the high fantasy stuff way more, and that's just
Oh
my personal
yeah.
preference.
Yeah. Shadowbring learning like secrets of a Hylian and Zodiark was like mind blowing.
Dude,
It's
the
like,
fact that they dropped
oh
that like at like it was the E3, and
yeah.
the ESP's like, we've got even bigger things to reveal to you
Oh
in the
yeah.
game. What? they're
He's like,
they're
you have no
primal?
idea. We're gonna blow your mind. And when it happens, you're just like, oh crap.
Are we tempered? It's like,
Yeah.
I've got like questions now that I never knew to ask before.
We're like thinking like, oh man, like everybody's like celebrating Hydaelyn as like this goddess, and like we're killing all these people tempered by these other things, and we're like, wait a minute, are we as bad as they are? Like,
maybe.
oh man, so
I
I'm,
do
oh
like that we
man,
found a cure for tempering, like that in and of
with the
itself is
pig,
like
the
the
little thing,
pig. Yeah,
that's great.
100%, dude. 100%.
Oh, oh, that was funny when we were doing that quest. I was just like, oh my gosh, flying, this, yes, this would be yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh, but yeah, so next I'm like I'm like at the point right now for Windwalker where you know how you're holding your breath, waiting in anticipation for something,
Yes.
but you also feel like you're having a heart attack.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're like, what's happening? What's gonna happen? What's
Let's
gonna happen?
go.
It's like,
Come on. Can we
oh
even
man,
is it updated yet? Have they pushed out the update yet for everybody?
oh I don't know. I gotta check.
I'm
I
double
keep
clicking.
logging in just in case because I don't want to be like waiting because my
Nah,
internet
not yet.
terrible some days, and I don't want to be like 3 o'clock in the morning, get on,
No,
log in.
that's
It's
not
like
when you
you got
want
a
patching.
12
That's not when you
hour
want to patch. You
match.
do not want to be patching at 3 a.m. Central where the servers are up. Oh my God. Because then it's like, I don't know what the queues are going to be like. And I think they're going to be awful.
Yeah, they're probably gonna be
I
big.
think it's going to be pretty insane,
Yeah, I remember
so.
Shadowbringers when it first launched. Me and my brother sitting in a queue, and he's like, "How much you got?" I'm like, 1,000 something. He's like, "I got 800 something." I'm like, "I'll be all right."
Yeah.
This is way better than I've seen before, so we're fine.
Exactly.
Like I'm just like 10,000.
Right.
Like holy crap.
2 billion. Oh man.
I'm not getting on today or tomorrow.
Yeah. So I guess I'll go to work today then, guys. All right. Yeah, that's my backup plan. It's like I'm taking Friday off, and it's like, well, if I'm in queue and I can't do anything.
Yeah, when he
Well,
announced the pushback, man, I thought it was a joke. I thought at first I was watching it live with my brother, and I was behind because
yeah.
as I just started, and so I went back and I watched it from the beginning, and I was watching the stream. And he's out there apologizing, like, "What's going on?" And my brother's like, "I don't know. Let's find out." And we're sitting there, and he's like, "I'm sorry, guys." I know I felt bad because I felt
Mhm.
like Yoshi P just has earned our respect, and he's earned the community and everybody else's like. The man is probably one of the greatest game developers I ever known.
Mhm.
And when you could tell that he was like hurt
Oh yeah.
inside for this.
Mm.
And so when he apologized and had to push it back, at first I thought it was a joke. I thought he was like, got ya. And
Yeah.
we're like, oh, I'll do that.
Man, that been a mean joke.
Right?
What?
But when he was
What?
serious, I was like,
Especially because of the language
man.
barrier, because I saw people were thinking that he had bad news about Soken or something. And so everybody was like seeing
Oh
him
no,
cry.
yeah.
And it's like as we wait for like people to translate and
Yeah,
like, okay,
yeah,
what's
that was sad
happening?
news.
For
Because
me, I was like,
my
what's up?
mother died of cancer,
Oh, I'm
so
so sorry to hear that,
and
man.
she had like stomach cancer all throughout her stomach, and she finally passed. So I was actually a little bit relieved because years and years. If you ever had anybody die for cancer, it's years of battling,
Mm-hmm.
watching them get sicker and sicker until they can't even move almost. And then when they finally passed, it was like it was sad, but it was also like she's in a better
Yeah.
place.
Better place.
So
You guys sitting here suffering and
yeah.
yeah,
So when that was
100%.
announced, I was like, oh, fuck cancer, man. Fuck cancer. Mm.
Amen.
Yeah, it was just yeah, but yeah, just hope he's doing. I hope he gets all right because that dude
Well,
is
sounds
a
like he's in
legend.
remission. So it
And
sounds like that's like,
yeah,
and then what a year, what an insane year in terms of that COVID. He's locked
oh,
down. He's
and he's
still
got to deal with
working, and the work is what's, like for him is just helping him kind of like, not think about it and really kind of, I'm sure he's thinking about it, but giving him something rather than sitting here and like, well, I got nothing to do. I've got to sit down and, gave him that. And then the work that he put out and the music that he makes is like, he's just so
the music
incredible.
makes it freaking. I'll listen to that. Make it when I write my book. I'm sitting there typing in my chapters. That's what I'm listening to.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so I can concentrate and focus. And I'm listening to his music, and I'm just trying to get through. And oh my gosh, dude, it's just, oh yeah, it's legendary music. Like if that dude should be hired by like guys who made like Star Wars,
Mm-hmm.
George Lucas, what's his name that made
Oh man,
all
keep him
his
square.
music. Yeah.
That's
You know, I'm
I'm
like,
like, oh, no in
he's
the
up
industries
there.
pay attention to this man. Let's keep him selfishly
Well,
to
true, yeah.
ourselves.
No, he's ours. Oh my gosh, man. Oh, the community, I love his team and I love how dedicated they are and the community around, not just, you guys have been watching you work the game for a while. Mr. Happy, I watched him. I've watched his guides since freaking 2.0.
Yeah.
So I've been watching all of you guys for a long time.
Thanks, man.
I just started like a year ago. Well, a little over a year ago when I started doing my channel. And most of my stuff was like, I'll do reviews, I'll talk about this.
Mhm.
I wanted to get in a game, I just didn't have the equipment to do it. And
Yeah.
now I bought my brother's computer because he was selling his computer so he can remake it. He decked this thing out as a hardcore gaming computer. So I was like, I'll buy it from you.
Yeah.
So now I have that, but we're looking into buying a house hopefully soon. And because we're in a tiny little house and our internet is horrible. I live in the middle of like small town Missouri.
Okay.
So we have like not the greatest internet,
I wonder if
around here.
you'll be available for Starlink soon.
Oh, I don't
Which is
know.
supposed to be pretty fast, pretty,
I
they
know I have AT&T internet. So
I have AT&T. No, I don't have AT&T. I have Spectrum. It sucks. We don't have FiOS here, but like there's FiOS all around, like fiber optic. And I'm like, I want
mm.
fiber so bad.
And my brother was pissed because he had fiber and then he
Yeah.
moved to a house that was like literally a block away from
And
where
they
the
don't have
fiber
fiber.
wasn't.
Yeah.
And he was like,
So frustrating.
damn.
No, at the end of the day, like I'm sorry, I need to kind of wrap up things.
You
But
gotta go.
at the end of the day, dude, like I really appreciate that they dropped the 1.0 trailer. It's nice to have it. It was really great to watch it again. It has me excited. I think that they would I hope that we get into some of the mysteries that were left unanswered. Silvertear Lake, what was the explosion? All of these things that like I've wondered. And so when we talk about like even with the myth of the realm, the Alliance raid that's going to be happening in 6-1, like I'm so excited to dive into that story because these are some, like
all of it. I'm
we've been
excited for
on this
every
track
bit
of this story. I'm really hoping that when 6-1 is out, it gives them the ability to kind of like say, well, now that we've kind of told this really focused story, what if we did it differently? But we'll ultimately have to wait and see because Yoshi P says he's got plans for 10 years and he's got some stuff he wants to share with us after Endwalker, after we experience Endwalker. And I think what he wants to share with us is that plan. We'll have to wait and see though.
I know, man. Can't wait.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
Oh,
100%.
it's so good to experience this, and I can't wait to see all our react. I'm not going to do anything. A lot of us. This is what another reason before you go real quick is why we love this community so much is because spoil it. A lot of us talk about how so many creators don't want to spoil it for people. They want that's why we all wait. We're all like, don't say anything. Allow people to experience the story for themselves. And then after a couple weeks or a month or so, then we're just going to be putting out our reaction videos. Are like, oh my god, and our theories, and because this is the end of the story, so a lot of the theory crafting a lot of people have done are coming to a final close to see who was kind of correct and who was close, and it's going to be so much fun. And this community is great. A lot of creators out there. They just had that one that just launched an anime music. I don't know if you see that. It's I can't remember the name of the YouTube channel, but he actually made it like an animated intro to 14.
Oh yeah, I saw the what they made. It was a whole team of people. It was
Yeah, that
well
was so
done.
good.
Yeah.
And there's so many other creators. Lazar, I've seen him on your channel before. He does all the funny little comedy videos of like how to warrior, but he does it completely wrong. A little bit right, but he also kind of like how to monk, and you punch things.
Yes.
Just so many good creators and so many good people in the community, and it makes this game so much more fun. And I know you got to go, so I'll wrap it up here, guys. Thank you for everybody for watching. If you're watching later on, please, if you have not subbed to Work the Game, I don't know what's wrong with you, because he's way bigger than I am. So anybody probably knows him way far more than me, which is fantastic. And if you're new to my channel, I'm Daniel, your host of Myriasphere Origins, and I hope you had a great time. I hope you all have a great, fantastic day. Thank you all, and we'll see you next time in the Myriasphere.